Kundalini is an exceptionally dangerous thing. We've gone over this a handful of times on this channel, and on a handful of occasions I've explained in great detail why and how Kundalini is dangerous. Now, just because something's dangerous, that does not make it evil. Knives can be considered very dangerous, but you can do some really great things with a knife. Many tools, some of the greatest tools that we have access to, can be used for great things, or they can be used for destruction. Now, Kundalini is a little bit different, and bear with me, you guys. I'm in the vehicle right now. This Mitsubishi, it's an old kind of truck-style SUV, and it's a little on the loud side. But Kundalini is a little bit different than a hammer or an oven or a spear gun. Because Kundalini can mess with your mind. And in a world where they want us all to be connected to this kind of hive mind consciousness, Kundalini poses the biggest threat on your sanity because it removes you from that without sympathy. It literally pulls the plug. You see, with Kundalini, you don't really necessarily get the plug pulled out of the socket patiently or kindly or at your own, desired pace. The Kundalini just pulls the plug. And if you do have an authentic Kundalini awakening, you will have a series of very profound psychedelic style visuals. You'll be able to see things in the world around you that you previously couldn't see. You'll be able to access bandwidths of your consciousness that were previously locked away and unable to be attained by your mind and your awareness. You will experience Gnosis. You will experience Christ consciousness. Your life will forever be changed. Now, this is not some amusement park ride. And for as beautiful as Kundalini and these experiences are, they are so foreign to what you've learned to think is normal in this world that by experiencing them, you by default change completely on a hormonal level, on a spiritual level, on a mental level, on an emotional level, on a physiological level, on a biological level, on a cellular level. Every little piece of your life changes in the flash of an eye. To witness the glory of the angelic kingdoms that Kundalini shows us is enough to make a man or woman insane. We are not accustomed to existing on the dimensional levels that Kundalini brings us into. It's like being in kindergarten and then suddenly being thrown into a calculus class and being expected to understand it all. It's incredibly complicated and incredibly difficult to integrate all of the information that you're exposed to when you experience a full-blown, authentic Kundalini awakening. And I say authentic Kundalini awakening because a lot of people are having non-authentic awakenings. They're like, imagining light moving through their body. They're not in, I could hear my ancestors and all this other stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a real Kundalini experience, you're not going to be able to deny it. It is highly psychedelic. It is highly visual. There are geometric patterns that come out of the world around you that you can see. You can see the geometric scaffolding holding the physical world together. You can now... It's just incredible. It's not something that you think you might have had. You know it. Folks, you know it, undeniably. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. You might not know what it's called. You might not know, it's a Kundalini awakening, blah, blah, blah. You might not know the term for it. But there's a good chance you would. In my opinion, a full-blown Kundalini awakening, the OI system, which is a term that I've coined to describe the organic intelligence of your aura is going to tell you what you're experiencing. When I first experienced my aura during the climax of my first experience with Gnosis, Kundalini, it talked to me like an advanced computer system. And it was kind of like the Millennium Falcon, turning on finally after Han Solo and Chewbacca worked on it for forever. It's like, before I was this broken machine, and then finally when the Kundalini moved through me, like everything turned on. There was like all sorts of beeping noises and almost digital style noises that I could hear and see. I could see like what appeared to be like these very alien relay systems and like circuit diagrams moving through my aura as it turned on. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of consciousness that we were designed to experience. We weren't designed to be these little slave worker pawns down here. We're like the worker bees for the queen. I mean, this is just ridiculous. We were designed to be in the promised land, which is a perpetual state of enlightenment. And when we're in a perpetual state of enlightenment, and Kundalini is the biological, physiological process which causes our personal enlightenment, we were designed to have this moving through us constantly. This is how God, the true living God, the hidden God, this is how God designed us. And when you have the Kundalini energy moving through you after it's cleansed all your tissues and dismantled your ego and all your bullshit, which puts you into the dark night of the soul, it's very terrifying. But after you go through this process, if you experience it past those stages, you experience like full body orgasms and pleasure beyond your wildest dreams. You see, enlightenment's supposed to feel good. You're supposed to feel good in this body. Nowadays, we think the pinnacle of pleasure is like the sexual orgasm. No, this body is an orgasmic wand of the divine. We're supposed to have like orgasms in our cells constantly. This is what life's supposed to feel fucking good, folks. We're not supposed to be stiff and arthritic and miserable and upset and tight and, depressed and all this bullshit. We've been sold a bill of goods, folks. We've been sold a fucking bill of goods. A disgusting bill of goods, and we've bought into it. We have been reduced to slaves. We have been reduced to slaves. And the only real way you'll ever know that is to experience these heightened states of consciousness. You see, the slavery exists in the consciousness. We are enslaved to a bullshit-ass system of consciousness. Our awareness is only taking in a very small fraction of the potential. Our body and our mind, our spirit, everything, our aura, we are an instrument. We are like what's the word I'm looking for? We are a information filtering instrument. We're supposed to filter in and experience a lot more than what we're experiencing, but our filtering systems have been given limitations. Our awareness has been given massive limitations, and it's largely due to the way that we live our lives. I mean, even the architecture of the Matrix, ladies and gentlemen, the streets and the fucking gas stations and all the stupid shit, all the weird colors and the stop signs and the cars, this is part of our enslavement. This is what your fucking awareness is anchored on. This is your life. When you live like this, all of the visual information that we take in from the cars and the houses and just the architecture in general solidifies a particular worldview that they want us to hold on to, and it creates a certain type of consciousness. When you live in an environment like this, it creates a certain type of consciousness. That consciousness that by default is separated from nature. Kundalini and nature are intimately connected, and when you're disconnected from nature, you're disconnected from the Kundalini. And what's really fucking interesting, you guys, is to wake up the Kundalini or to experience Kundalini in the concrete jungle, in the confines of the prison. This is when you become a targeted individual. This is when you start to experience really strange paranormal activity and phenomenon from the world around you. Because the system doesn't want you awakening the Kundalini. And once you awaken the Kundalini in this system, really strange shit begins to happen to you. And you start to realize that there's an agenda to keeping this energy from moving freely through human beings. You see, the secret societies know this. The CIA, these different organizations, these rogue elements of our government, they know the energetic potential of the human being. And they want to keep us enslaved to a very, very non-energetic energy. They want to keep our energetic configuration imprisoned. And when this happens, and it has on a mass level, the soul does not become, the spirit does not become aware of itself. So you become imprisoned in your body because your soul, your spirit is not aware of itself. You think you're your body. You think you're just like this alter ego that you've created for yourself. You think you're actually your ego. Most people don't know what the ego is, and we've gone over this a handful of times in other videos, so I'm not going to be repetitive. Your ego, in layman's terms, is the identity that you've created from living in this world where you've defined yourself through the lens of culture. You think, oh, I'm Bob, I'm a builder, I'm Tom, I'm a cook. Who are you, Tom? Well, I own a Lexus and I have these hobbies. That's not who you are. I mean, it is to a certain extent, for your character that you're playing in the Matrix, but that's not the real you. You see, they anchor your awareness into a very suboptimal bracket where your spirit is unaware of what it is. You think you're your body. Now, your body is a very special, very holy temple. But it's not the sum total of who you are. It's the space suit. It's the divine computer that you use to navigate this dimension. Kundalini takes body and spirit, merges them together, and you know God. It's a very difficult thing to explain. You become Christ. You become Christed. You become the Christ consciousness. The Kundalini moving up your spine awakens the coccygeal church and all the churches of God, which are the true energetic pylons or chakras in your system. When it gets to your head, folks, you become Christed. You actually know what Christ is at that point. You're not actually just worshiping at the feet of some, fairy tale person that, all these, it's just insane. Everything's backwards, folks. They've got people worshiping Jesus nailed to a cross. It's the most macabre, twisted fucking thing ever. Religion is such a mind control tool, and I know that's so sensitive to so many people. And I'm not trying to be a dick by saying that. I'm trying to liberate people into worshiping the real, true, living God by becoming alive. This body was designed as an instrument to tether you to God so that you know God through the risen Kundalini. We're not supposed to read about God in a book, in the dead scriptures written on dead trees and books. The book of life is you. We were designed, folks, to know God through the rising Kundalini. There's nothing more religious, in my opinion, than having a Kundalini experience, because you get to know God, you get to know Christ. People, reading the Bible to seek God. Seek your body. Do you not see how everything has been turned upside down? Seek radiant health, folks. Seek pristine health. Seek the angels. Seek, and ye shall find. Reading can be considered seeking to some, but living with purpose, living with arete, living with purpose, you guys, again, with virtue, walking like what you think Christ would do, not just reading about Jesus, trying to become that. That's how we align ourselves with divine virtue, which can lead, in my opinion, to the sparking of the rod of Asclepius, the rod of Mercury, the rod of Tahuti, the rod of Hermes Trismegistus, the actual spine, the staff of God. The caduceus. The caduceus is the telephone system that the Creator ingeniously, our spine is our phone that connects us to God. Long story short, that's all. That's all I could say. That's all I have to say. I could end this video at this point. Your spine, your nervous system, your brain, your brainstem, your entire cerebral spinal system. Your brain attaches to your head, your spine. Everything's connected, and then you have all these offshoots leading to different parts of your body. This main relay system, which is your spine, is what connects you to the source when the Kundalini is awakened. The awakened Kundalini is the Christ consciousness. The Christ consciousness is the enlightened human being, the human being having Kundalini moving through his or her body. Now, unfortunately, and for myself included, our bodies and our minds are so programmed by culture and, the way we were raised, etc., that it's very difficult for this energy to stay lit, to stay illuminated. So this is how I can weed out a liar in a heartbeat. If you tell me that you're enlightened, if you tell me that your third eye is open, if you tell me that your Kundalini is awakened, there's a 99.99999% chance you're lying to me. Because if you were actually enlightened, if you did have that Kundalini moving through you, you'd be able to perform fucking miracles. So stop lying to yourself. There's nothing worse than people that just lie about their spirituality to try to seem better than other people. I have never once told you that I have my Kundalini ignited currently. I've told you that I've experienced it on a handful of occasions, and I do believe that I've had certain physiological things rewired in my system from the presence of Kundalini. I believe that I'm more clairvoyant than most people because of it, and I do indeed believe that I'm more psychic and more empathic than most people because of how Kundalini has gifted me. That's a blessing and a curse, more so a curse. Being able to feel everything in a world filled with so much filth, it's pretty nasty. It's just as nasty as the filth on the astral plane, let me tell you. However, don't lie to, I have my third eye opened. I had someone recently on my channel say that. Your third eye is not open. Your third eye is not open. Being conscious of the evil in the world and drinking kale shakes does not make your third eye open. If your third eye was open, you'd be able to perform miracles, ladies and gentlemen. The stuff you read about in your Bible, the miracles. Telepathy, extreme clairvoyance. Being able to materialize things in front of you just with your thoughts, physical objects. I mean, come on. Anyways, you guys, I love you. This was kind of a rant. Kundalini is dangerous, to summarize things. Kundalini is dangerous because it destroys your fragile mind. And all of us have fragile minds. You just don't know it yet because you've never had it dismantled. Once your fragile mind is dismantled, you lose your stability mechanisms that you use to comfortably and egotistically and narcissistically walk through this disgusting realm, the underworld. You see, life is easy for you. You don't have anxiety. You don't have problems because you're not yet aware of the severe magnitude of what's actually going on here because you don't feel anything. Kundalini removes your bullshit, gives you the ability to see things, gives you the ability to feel again. You become empathic to the highest degree. And once that happens, once those changes take place within you, once your entire worldview has changed and your subconscious is wiped clean, it's like you're born again. And being born again is not easy. You got to learn to walk again. You've got to learn to talk again. You've got to learn to run again. But this is a little bit deeper than just physical, I've got to learn to walk again. You've got to learn to walk spiritually. You've got to learn to talk spiritually. You've got to learn to be able to run spiritually. And that's the hardest thing that there is, because the amount of work and effort that it takes to rebuild yourself with this degree of maturity is very difficult. I love you all, and may peace be with you.